With the current spell of rated R shenanigans not quite being old enough to really judge at this early stage, this list will strictly be focusing on the time leading up to this year's new AEW era starting Wrestle Dream. So with that being said then, let's take a magical, frustrating, and often pulsating trip down memory lane. I'm Gareth, this is What Culture Wrestling, and here is every AEW era ranked from worst to best. Number 5, the Chaos Era, September 2022 to September 2023. In 2023 alone, AEW unleashed a brand new Saturday night show in Collision, shifted a ridiculous amount of tickets and put on an iconic all-in event inside of Wembley Stadium, and continued to produce pay-per-view magic. However, the way the company handled much of the aftermath of the brawl-out insanity that went down in September 2022 was laughably bad. Instead of forcing all involved to sit down and work through their issues, doing what was absolutely right for the company, the animosity was given the chance to fester, and fester it did. But there's still no guarantee nipping those CM Punk Elite issues in the bud early would have led to better ticket sales domestically, or a product that didn't feel like it was often making it up as it went along since All Out 2022. All that being said, this is still the era that also saw MJF confidently take his place as the biggest star in the company, becoming AEW's new lovable main character slash anti-hero, with his engaging work alongside everyone from Bryan Danielson to Adam Cole, baby. As with every era on this list, the women's division hasn't been given anywhere near as much time to shine as they deserve, but Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, Saraya, Hikaru Shida, and Toni Storm have all shown the world what this division is capable of when it and its titles are treated with the right amount of care and attention. Outside of the AEW World Championship picture and the women's division, however, only FTR and Orange Cassidy's stints as AEW World Tag Team Champions and International Champion respectively really live long in the memory when it comes to the excessive amount of belts up for grabs post-September 2022. And despite the presence of a frankly absurd amount of world-class stars, the product was unfortunately at its absolute coolest for much of the Chaos era, though it likely didn't help that their rivals over in Stamford were, and still are, enjoying their hottest era in decades at the same time. But telling more unfocused stories on screen than ever before isn't the best way to retain viewers and move tickets either. Building new stars also didn't appear to be the priority it had been in the years that came before, with the likes of Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, and Takeshita not being handled or booked as well as they perhaps would have been at a time when the roster wasn't anywhere near as bloated. Chaos reigned supreme right up until the point the chip magnet finally left / was chucked out of the building, and the AEW brand wasn't better for it. But even then, the occasional highs were still magnificent to behold. Now a quick question for you, what's your favourite Chaos era memory? Something to do with a punker or something else? Let me know in the comment section right down below. Number 4, the Pandemic Era, March 2020 to July 2021. One thing the average All Elite lover has discovered over the last few years is that TK and the gang have a funny old habit of making life-affirming lemonade out of life's sourest of lemons, transforming an empty Daily's place into a safe and compelling space for wrestling fans to escape to for a few hours each and every Wednesday night. The first AEW pay-per-view to go down in front of a grand total of 0 fans also set the outrageously creative tone for what was to come. Stadium Stampede is a piece of art, one that simply wouldn't have had the chance to exist were it not for the planet being completely locked away at the time. Hell, it was so unexpectedly thrilling the promotion has repeatedly tried and sometimes failed to recapture that specific magic ever since, with this moment of glorious mascot smacking, bar brawling, and goalpost moonsaulting mayhem, later inspiring gripping anarchy in the arena and Wembley Stadium wars too. Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley both competed for the title of greatest wrestler on planet Earth, and it was wonderful to watch. Sure, not all of the experiments produced all-timer moments by any means. Tooth and Nail and Mimosa Mayhem efforts came and thankfully went. And remember that time Iron Mike stopped by to reignite a feud with Chris Jericho you forgot was ever even a thing? Surreal. That's the word that certainly encapsulates the All Elite experience from the day fans left arenas to the time they were finally allowed back in substantial numbers. And while innovation, excitement, and good vibes were still oozing out of many an AEW pore during the bizarre pandemic era, the rise of Brody Lee, Eddie Kingston, Hikaru Shida, and Britt Baker, Cody Rhodes' TNT title open challenge, and genuinely mind-blowing arrivals of the likes of FTR and Sting will all stand the test of time. Controversy also unfortunately began to infect this exhilarating alternative. The way AEW handled the sickening Matt Hardy All Out 2020 bump, for example, was terrible and a painful but vital lesson to learn live on pay-per-view. Also, Revolution 2021's Sparkler conclusion to an otherwise stellar exploding barbed wire deathmatch was embarrassing and made the alternative feel smaller than ever before. But on the whole, even the rougher no-crowd periods successfully dragged folks away from the horrors outside their own door, and reminded them that elite pro wrestling can brighten even the darkest of spells. Number 3, the excitement era, January 2019 to October 2019. In the months that followed a game-changing little pay-per-view by the name of All In, it soon became clear that Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks weren't content with just putting on the one acclaimed arena show. They and a bloke called Tony Khan wanted to start a damn revolution. And the excitement that could be felt throughout the industry from the moment All Elite Wrestling was officially confirmed to be a very real thing on January 1st, 2019 was palpable. The company's first ever press conference brought with it the reveals of stars like wrestling legend Chris Jericho, former WWE talent Pac, and the Elite's own Hangman Adam Page joining the increasingly stacked roster. And Kenny Omega's later arrival alongside the likes of the Lucha Brothers and their Best Friends only added to the buzz heading into the company's first real pay-per-view. AEW landing their first TV deal a few weeks before the inaugural Double or Nothing was a further sprinkle of sugar on top of what was shaping up to be the most enjoyable cake to drop onto the pro wrestling table in decades. Then that wonderful night in Las Vegas happened, cementing this fresh new company as the industry babyface fans had been crying out for. The epic Rhodes Brothers War, a Young Bucks Lucha Brothers hit, another excellent chapter in the Omega Jericho story, and the legendary debut of the one and only Jon Moxley. But there was still more stellar action to come before the Elite and Co made their way onto Wednesday nights. Even with the unneeded controversial botched chair shot to the American Nightmare's head at the first ever Fyter Fest, the hype train kept on moving at unprecedented speeds. And at this embryonic stage, AEW was also showing a refreshing desire to not only give established stars a new and creatively fulfilling place to call home, but offer the brightest independent talents, male, female, and tag teams, the platform to grow into household names too. By the time All Out 2019 was in the books, fans were well and truly ready to bathe in this elite alternative weekly. And sure enough, this was just the beginning of something properly special. Number 2, the Early Dynamite Days era, October 2019 to March 2020. AEW hit the ground running and then some on October 2nd, 2019, debuting a newly weekly Dynamite show boasting an ensemble cast determined to blow away the competition with high-caliber in-ring performances, angles, and ambitious storylines. As already noted, said roster wasn't exactly lacking in star power, but it was also small enough to allow delightful personalities like Orange Cassidy and Riho the room to get over with the All Elite faithful. Those early battles between the high-profile names under All Elite contracts simply demanded the attention of anyone who switched on or coughed up cash for the TNT product too. Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley's violent Full Gear 2019 unsanctioned fight was the controversial talk of the town. Cody Rhodes' shocking failure to capture the AEW World Championship against Chris Jericho, resulting in him not being able to challenge for it again, kicked off the first of many iconic MJF programs as well. Even an AEW Women's Championship that became an afterthought not too long after its unveiling enjoyed a few class bouts, with Riho's title fight with Emi Sakura and Nyla Rose both ranking as some of the company's greatest hits in the division. Le Champion also expertly carried the company's top strap during those early months, surrounding himself with a number of exciting stars of tomorrow and Jake Hager, as Jericho continued a frequently hilarious / inspired late career revival and elevated all who shared the ring with the legend. Then you have those early days of the Elite saga on AEW TV, with an anxious Hangman Adam Page's need to prove himself as a truly elite member of the titular faction, leading to arguably the greatest tag team match of all time between all 4 members at Revolution 2020. Every inch of TV felt like a must-see event. You were invited to analyze and invest in characters in a way you hadn't since the 90s on an American wrestling product. And results appeared to actually matter, as the rankings decided who was next in line for a shot at the big belts. What a concept! If you'd have known the pandemic era was right around the corner, perhaps you would have held the superb Early Dynamite days that little bit tighter. Thankfully though, this wouldn't be the last tremendous era in AEW history. Number 1, the Punk era, July 2021 to September 2022. Don't be sad that it's over, be happy that we live in a world where it actually happened in the first place. The crowds were returning, wrestling felt like the biggest thing on this spinning ball of insanity, and AEW were about to take things up a few notches. In the wake of Double or Nothing 2021 welcoming back the sound of thousands of fans collectively losing their damn minds, Tony Khan decided to bring in the big guns. After 7 long years away from all things pro wrestling, and it often looking like the days of the punker in between the ropes hopes were over, the best in the world strutted back into the business on the second ever edition of AEW's then latest weekly show, Rampage. But this was merely the beginning of a bold new All Elite era. CM Punk was soon joined by fellow former WWE stars Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson in a stunning move that made the alternative feel like the destination more than ever before. Similarly to the early Dynamite Days era, it felt like you just could not afford to miss one edition of the Wednesday or Friday night AEW offerings. Dream showdowns between Minoru Suzuki and Danielson, and carefully mapped out rivalries pitting the voice of the voiceless against the bloke who was better than him and he knew it, became the norm. It wasn't perfect, the women's division was again rarely put in a position to succeed, largely only making the headlines due to backstage drama, but what is, eh? The joy felt seeing Hangman Adam Page finally topple Kenny Omega, and Punk and Eddie Kingston brawl at Full Gear 2021, Wardlow pass the ring at Revolution 2022, Anarchy in the Arena be unleashed at Double or Nothing 2022, Danielson and Omega tear it up at Grand Slam 2021, the Young Bucks produce magic with the Lucha Brothers time and time again, and so much more help wash away the memories of those missteps though. Even when the high-profile arrivals went down injured, or big stars disappeared for a while post-Pipe Bomb, AEW still found a way to bounce back with a Jon Moxley World Championship run for the ages. Like any exceptional era in wrestling history, all good things must come to an end, however, and a year on from CM Punk's first AEW match, a pissed off and once again injured Phil clashed with some EVPs backstage, bringing a dreamlike spell for the company to a sudden end. But we'll always have the memories, folks. And that is our list. Do you agree with our rankings or not? Either way, let me know what you think in the comment section right down below, and don't forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're down there. Also, if you like this sort of stuff, then please head on over to whatculture.com and find some more fantastic articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Cheers for checking out this video today. Hopefully we'll see you again rather soon, but in the meantime, just be good to yourself. Bye bye!